The generations in the past had heroes that motivated and inspired them to become something great. My generation doesn't have any heroes, or so it seems. Plus, the heroes of generations past are being trashed and torn down by the generation before us. So, how can our generation be great if there's no one to look up to? This is Caleb's Take.
Unpredictable, very resourceful, a master chef, a wisecracking know-it-all, always improving himself. He is Caleb Clifford Jennings Betterton. This is Caleb's Take.
All right, guys, welcome to today's show. I'm excited to have you on today to talk to you guys. I love you guys. This podcast will reach millions. Maybe not today, maybe not next week, but I guarantee you, one day, this podcast, this brand will reach millions of people. And you can be a part of that. You can say, I was here first. I was listening. I was watching. I was a part of it before it was cool. And we have built this brand from zero to reaching over 1,000 downloads a month and getting on new guests. And we have a special guest coming on the show soon. I'm not going to name drop yet, but I'll name drop soon. So stay tuned. We have a big guest coming on the show soon. And I'm excited because this podcast is just getting started. The gist is just getting started. And you are a part of that. I'm excited that you're a part of it. And you should be too. Because this brand is going to be a huge brand one day. And you can say, I was there at the beginning. Our goal hasn't changed. It's been tweaked and updated, but it hasn't changed. Our goal is and will continue to be to entertain but challenge this next generation to be all they're called to be. We believe in you. We want to see you at your full potential while we reach our full potential by reaching millions and millions of Jizz fans all over the world. So stay tuned. We have more coming. We're not done yet. We're just getting started. And you get to be a part of that. You guys are awesome. I want to say thank you to all you who have listened since the beginning, who have recently started listening to this podcast. We do this for you. We believe in you and want to challenge you and entertain you so you too can be who God's called you to be. So there are some very, very out-of-pocket Bible stories out there. And I'm thinking about doing a new series, a new segment on out-of-pocket Bible stories. And today's first one is in Judges 19. And I'm not going to go into detail on this Bible story because this podcast is just a little bit on the PG-13 side, so I can't go into full detail on this Bible story because it's that out of pocket. It is insane. So go look at Judges 19 for the full context. Parental discretion is encouraged for that book, for that chapter of the Bible. Again, and you can't get mad at me for it. I didn't write it. It's talk to God, not me. Okay, I didn't write this chapter. I didn't put this in the Bible. But this story is kind of out of pocket. It's a little bit weird, a little bit wild. So basically, we see a kind of another Sodom and Gomorrah potential thing happen in this chapter in this book of the Bible in Judges 19, but with maybe a more extreme twist. Again, this is out of pocket Bible stories. Again, parental discretion is advised for this segment. And if you want to know the full scope of this story, read your Bible, because again, this podcast is just a little on the PG-13 side. But basically, it ends with this guy cutting his wife into 13 pieces, or 12 pieces, and sending it to each tribe of Israel. And I can only imagine being the leader of a tribe, and you get this box in the mail, it's special delivery, overnight shipping, paid the premium shipping. It's been paid for. You get this package like, man, what is this? What has Amazon brought me today? What did I order? I don't remember what I ordered. He opens the box and finds this, the head of a woman in this box and a note saying, we're going to hold you accountable to this, basically. Can you imagine they open the box and instantly you have the smell of the dead piece of flesh. That's, again, if you want the full context of the story, you got to read it for yourself. We cannot talk about this story on this podcast. I'm sorry, we can't go into detail. Otherwise, I would. In other out-of-pocket segments, we will go into more detail. But this one, you got to read it for yourself. I'm sorry for the full context. But you open up this box, and there's this severed head inside this box. And you're like, oh, okay. Because when you have kids in your house, getting a package is a big deal. Getting a package is a huge deal. The kids, when open the box, and I can see it right now. Someone one of the tribe leaders was like, all right, come here, son. I'll let you open the box. Daddy just it was shipped him a special delivery. It's got to be something really cool, right? And they open it up, and there's just some lady's hand in there. It's just this hand that's molded, getting the flesh rotten off of it. And the kid's like freaking out and screaming. And the kids may be kind of crazy, because there's some weird kids out there, first off. Or the kid's like, this is the coolest thing I've ever got in my life. Grabs the hand, takes off, starts chasing his sister with it. Whole big old deal, whole big old situation. And the guy's like, why did I get some lady's hand sent to me? Again, this is out of pocket Bible story, because this guy literally sent 12, I don't know how he divided 12 pieces out of a woman, out of a person. I don't know how that worked. I don't know if it was like start the knees, each joint maybe, and he broke it into 12 there. Each joint, he just cut a joint off, one arm to the elbow, then the shoulder up to the shoulder, head. I don't know. Maybe divide the stomach in half. I don't know how he did it. Don't know how he did it. But he sent 12 pieces of his former wife to all the tribes in Israel. And here's the thing, again, for the full context of the story, you got to go read it for yourself in Judges 19. But he's upset about that his wife's dead, which is understandable. But at the same time, he didn't try to protect his wife in the first place. And again, for the full context of the story, you got to read it for yourself. Parental discretion is advised. He didn't even try to protect her in the first place. He pretty much threw her and said, you can kill her, you can have her, whatever. And then he gets mad because she's dead in the morning. And then he cuts her up in 12 pieces and says, this is awful, this is terrible. I was like, bro, you could have stopped it. You could have been the man and said, you know what? I'm going to at least fight for my wife. And this whole story is interesting because it starts off with this same girl running away from him. She did some naughty things and ran away from him. And he goes and he gets her back. It's a weird story. It's an out-of-pocket Bible story. And if you want more details on this story, become a member. No, I'm just kidding. Become a member, and you can find out the more juicy details of this story from the Bible. But the Bible's interesting, folks. The Bible is interesting. There's some weird stuff, out-of-pocket stuff in the Bible. This is just one example. And again, we're going to do a new segment, I think, maybe on the main show too, maybe on the Full Gist show as well, about out-of-pocket Bible stories, because this one's very out-of-pocket. From start to finish, this story is out there. It's crazy. Wild. Because, again, he could have fought for his wife, technically speaking, in the story, but he didn't, and then he gets mad, and he chopped... Your wife was just murdered, and your first thought is, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cut her into 12 pieces and send her to all the tribes of Israel so we can start a war. That's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to bury her. I'm not going to, mourn for her. I'm going to chop her up. Okay? At least, send her ashes, cremate her, have a nice funeral, then send ashes out. But no, we're chopping her up. Chop, 12, however that works. 12 pieces. I don't know if they're even pieces. I don't know how the pieces looked. 12 pieces through all the tribes. We going to stand for this or not? Oh, man. Can you imagine that your funeral invitation is a piece of some person's body? It's like, yeah, this guy, oh, I heard so-and-so died. Yeah, she died. Oh, when's the funeral? Oh, it's this. I'll send you your invitation in a few days. You get the invitation. You open up the little card, and there's a finger inside, and that's your invitation, knowing you're invited to the funeral. Talk about sickening, man. Talk about sickening. Just telling you, there are some very, very out-of-pocket Bible stories. But coming up next, we have Caleb's Take, so stay tuned. Recently, I've been thinking a lot about heroes lately. I am big on having mentors and advisors, but heroes fit a different category. They are ones that inspire you and motivate you. And those can be mentors and advisors too, but usually they're someone that you don't know. They're like, I want to be like that person, this big star, this big hero, right? And they may be a mentor and advisor, but oftentimes they're not. It's who you dream of being, who you want to be like. A lot of people like to tie heroes and idols together, but I'm not talking about worshiping people right now. I'm talking about people who inspire you, those kind of heroes. I grew up in a very Christian and conservative home, which I'm very thankful for because it helped mold me into who I am today. But because of that, we didn't have TV in the home, and I didn't watch a lot of movies or see a lot of movies growing up. But I did listen to a lot of Odyssey and old time radio. Shout out to Odyssey. Shout out to old time radio. Great. Listen, if you want to become great like me, no, I'm just kidding. Listen to old time radio. Listen to Odyssey, and let those shape your morals and your values, and you'll be just fine. You'll be just fine. But Mr. Whitaker was a hero of mine. The Lone Ranger, from like 5 to like 10. Lone Ranger, that's my guy. Love the Lone Ranger so much. Not the whatever they made now with whatever movie came out a few years ago. The original, the OG, old time radio Lone Ranger was it for me. I loved him. I had the whole entire cassette box full of cassettes of the Lone Ranger episodes. He was my guy. He was my hero. They fought for good and helped those in need. But they were also exciting and went on adventures and did amazing and cool things. And I wanted to do the same thing. They are my heroes. Now, as I've gotten older, my heroes have gone from fiction to nonfiction. Recently, one of my heroes has been Winston Churchill. When I read a book about him, it really inspired me. It really caused me to want to be a lot like him. His book, the book I read about him, was so good. And it inspired me and it motivated me. It made me want to be like him, and it inspired me as I read the book. He inspired me. His story inspired me as I read that book. The problem is today, the culture has its heroes it promotes, but most of the heroes that it's pushing are flawed or have the wrong ideas and agendas, and they push these ideas on social media, TV, movies, and the scary thing is that this generation is buying into these ideas that their heroes are promoting. Our culture has also done its best to tarnish the heroes of the past. Like our founding fathers. I don't know how many stories I've seen, hit pieces I've seen against our founding fathers. And I'm not saying that the information is 100% wrong, but you're skewing a perspective in a way that doesn't need to be skewed. In a way that's not 100% true, and you're hiding details that make them heroic, that make them great. And they're tarnishing the heroes of the past. Now, we can accept that people are flawed and may and probably will make mistakes. Like I said earlier, I'm not talking about worshiping people, but about being inspired. The founding fathers are inspiring. Were they flawed? Yes, but they're still inspiring. The ideas and cultures people push determine if we should be inspired by them while still being honest about their flaws. The problem with heroes today is their ideas and agendas are very, very flawed. But they paint this picture with their social medias, their movie careers, whatever they do. They paint this picture of greatness, of pizzazz, of beauty, of riches, of glory, rags to riches. It's attractive. They got their Bugattis, they got their money, they got their women, they got all this stuff, and it looks attractive to the naked eye. But what they're really pushing, what they're really teaching is very, very flawed. Very, very flawed. In fact, it's detrimental to society. It's detrimental to this next generation. Because really what those heroes are pushing aren't ideals to make the world better. They're pushing ideas and agendas that sell themselves and sells merchandise so they can make more money and be richer. That's what they're doing. They're not trying to be a hero, not trying to be a role model. They're trying to make money for themselves. And I'm all for capitalism, but we have to be honest with what the heroes of culture is pushing. It's flawed ideas. Now, that being said, how do we find good, solid heroes in society today? Again, not worshiping people, but people who can inspire us. Well, we got to start with the Word of God. If the ideas, the principles someone is preaching or pushing align with the Word, then we should, okay, cool. I can listen to that. I can aspire to be like that. And now, again, people are flawed. Sometimes people may inspire you in different areas of their life, not the whole entire picture. Maybe you have a business hero that you like how they handle their business practices and proceedings, but you don't agree with the way they've lived their personal life. You can separate, again, flaws and the good they've done. You can aspire to be like the good aspects while still saying no and giving a cold shoulder to the flawed aspects. But what you should value, what you should look for in heroes and things that inspire you should come from the Word first. It should be filtered through the Word of God. And that decides if they're a candidate to be a hero or not. And again, I'm not saying that people aren't flawed, and I'm not talking about hero worshiping and worshiping people. I'm talking about being inspired. There's people who inspire me who I don't agree with a lot of what they do in their personal lives when it comes to business or discipline, or I can say that's good and listen to that and still say no to their flaws and still not endorse them even. But what's inspiring me? Why is it inspiring me? Heroes are supposed to inspire something. And if all they're inspiring in you is a desire to be rich, again, nothing wrong with being rich, but that's all they're inspiring inside of you. To be famous, to be prideful, if that's the only thing they're inspiring, that's an issue. Again, nothing wrong with being rich, being famous even, if your motives are right, if it's what God's called you to do. But who are your heroes? Do you need to change who your heroes are? Are they inspiring you to be who God has called you to be? If not, maybe it's time to reevaluate who your heroes are, the heroes in your lives. And the truth is, we all need heroes. I am pro heroes, having people who inspire you, fiction or nonfiction. Again, you have to know what the filter is. You have to decide if they're a good hero or not, and that's through the filter of the Word, starting off there. But the thing is, we need those heroes. Again, I don't agree with everything Winston Churchill did, said, or the way he lived his private life, but there were things he did that inspired me, and I look up to that. I can be honest about the flaws, but I'm still inspired by the greatness. Be inspired by greatness, not riches. Because greatness and riches aren't the same thing. There's a lot of rich people out there who aren't great. There's a lot of great people out there who may not be as rich. What are they inspiring within you? We need people to inspire us. We do. We need people to help guide us. Again, I'm all for mentors and advisors. I'm really big on having a mentor and advisors in your life, but we need heroes too. We need people who represent ideals, even if their lives didn't live up to those ideals. Again, the founding fathers, they had flawed lives. They made mistakes, but the ideals they represent, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. All men are created equal. Those are the ideals that they represent. They may not have reached or fulfilled those ideals in their personal lives, but that's the ideals they represent. And I can be honest about their flaws, but still be inspired by the ideals they pushed and promoted. We need people to inspire us and guide us towards a great cause. They'll help us find and achieve our purpose. This has been Caleb's Take. All right, guys, thank you for listening to today's show. Hope you enjoyed it. Also, don't forget to check us out on YouTube. YouTube audience has been growing. I'm posting a lot of stuff on there. This Caleb's Take will be on YouTube at some point, so you can watch that. We have reels, highlights, all that stuff. Go check it out. And some other non-podcast related videos on there as well. A few vlogs. We'll have more out pretty soon. And a few other things coming down the pike. So go check out our YouTube channel and subscribe. Don't forget to leave a 5-star review here and a rating. And thank you for just being a part of this. I appreciate you guys. Just check out the show notes and see what's all down there. You guys are awesome. You guys are why we're doing this. Help us keep on entertaining but challenging this generation. Bye.